So we'll talk about leads first, okay? So when you get a lead from us, it will be uploaded onto the CRM. You receive a login password to get into the CRM. It's a custom CRM just for you. And we got those, we upload the leads into the CRM, and that way you can manage them, take a look at them, and kind of work them from there. One of the other really interesting things about the CRM is, if you have noticed, is when you click on the address, it will take you right to a Google map and show you exactly where the location is at. The other nice thing that we just added to the CRM is you can actually print the lead sheet. So you can go on, look at the lead, print it, and take it with you on your appointment. It's really a cool function. And I got these ideas just from hearing agents and saying, what would maybe help with the process. So that's why we did that. So we did implement those things. So awesome. So first things first, when you get the lead and you see, there's a couple of things obviously to look at. So we've actually talked to each prospect, and we're asking them when the best time to call them back, or for you to call them back. And so we'll find out whether it's afternoon, evening, or morning. And so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look at that. And that's when you're going to want to be making those phone calls to try to reach that individual, because that's when they said that they're available. When they said that's the best time to be reached. So definitely look at that information. So maybe block all of the people that said morning, make your calls for them at one time, all the people that said afternoon, and so on and so on. So not rocket science, but definitely good to hear it. One of the other things too is I have a lot of people that'll call a lead, and the prospect starts asking questions, and it gets into a point where the agent is now trying to sell over the phone. Definitely a no-no. So the best thing to do is to just call. When they answer, you can just say, "Hey, John, this is Steve with XYZ Company, and you talk to my associate, John. I'm the local field underwriter in your area. I have another appointment tomorrow at 1, and I'm going to be near you. Can I stop by at 2? Now, obviously, you're going to be looking at when he's available. So if he says he's around and available in the morning or afternoon or evening, so if he says afternoon, that's when you're going to say 2, 3. You're going to try to set a time that you're actually going to be near him when he's available, right? So it's kind of psychological. You don't want to say, if he says he's around in the evening, to say, "Hey, I'm going to be in your area at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Is that going to work for you?" So it's probably not. So don't do that. Look to that information. It's going to help you. The other thing too is a lot of them are going to say, "Well, can you just send me the information?" or something like that. You're obviously going to have to tell them, "Listen, no, I'm actually a field underwriter, so I actually have to see you, to make sure you're not chained to a hospital bed and weigh, 900 pounds. It's really the truth. So you do need to get out and actually see them and make sure they are, in healthy condition. And then you have to actually see them so you can, get the data that you need so you can give them the best policy that works best for them, So, those are some of the things you're going to utilize in your tool bag to set the appointment. So that is the key. Set the appointment. When you make the phone call, the call isn't to give them any more information. The call isn't to, give them quotes. The call is to set the appointment. So you're not going to do very well selling policies over the phone. I do have some agents that's all they do, but for the most part, you want to take these leads and you want to set the appointment to, go to their home so you can see them. So really, that's about it. That's all I have on leads, on how to really work those. It's just a little bit of information to kind of give you to help you be better and work the leads in the most efficient manner possible. These are probably the best leads that I've ever worked and seen, apart from possibly getting a referral from a close friend or something like that. These are so good because we actually had the conversation. So it really, just sets everything apart. So I appreciate it. And that's, my advice on the leads. So, hey, now we're going to talk about appointments. We set these appointments for you. You're going to get in your Google Sheet, or I'm sorry, we're not using the Google Sheet anymore. In the CRM, it's going to tell you the exact time and date all the information that's actually in a lead, but instead we set the appointment for you. I know we're using your Calendly to actually, see when you're available, but don't look to the Calendly for the accurate appointment time. The accurate appointment time is going to be in the CRM, and you're going to be able to print that and see exactly, all the information right there on the lead sheet. So we just really use the Calendly as kind of a guidepost to see when you have availability. So sometimes it gets a little, jumbled up on the Calendly side, but again, we're just using that. And what I do recommend is when you wake up and you take a look at your CRM and you see that the appointment times don't coincide with one another, so there might be a different appointment time in the CRM, that's the correct one. So if you see something different on your Calendly, you might just want to go in and just make the adjustment. So always use the appointment time that is in the CRM, right? So that one's always going to be correct. And there's a lot of reasons why it might not be correct in Calendly, because there's buffers and things like that in there. And after we're doing the QA and stuff like that at the end of the shift, sometimes it just doesn't sync up. But I can assure you, look to the CRM, it will have the correct appointment. So, and then again, like I said, when you get up in the morning, you check and you see that there's a difference between the two, just go ahead and make the adjustment in your Calendly. And that way it'll be synced up, and then we'll know that those times are now available again. So that's, that on that. So next thing I want to talk about is I've had some agents call me and say, hey, I went out on an appointment that you set. I got there, I didn't see any cars in the driveway, I didn't see anything, so I called them. And someone answered and said, they don't need any insurance or whatever. So don't call. The only time I would recommend calling is if you're up there knocking on the door and you've knocked and they're not answering, then you can call them 2 or 3 times right there from the door. But as far as before you attempt to knock on the door, don't call them, because that's an opportunity for them to get out of it, or for someone else to answer the phone and shut you down. So the whole purpose of the appointment is to get in front of a prospect who has indicated an interest in the policy that you actually have to offer. So that's the thing that I want to tell everybody. Don't call before you go. Sometimes you might have to call to reschedule if you're running late. I understand that if you feel comfortable doing that. I do have some agents that are like, I don't call, I just go. If they set the appointment and I'm running late, I just go. That seems to work for some people. I mean, you're going to have to kind of, figure out what works best for you. But as far as just calling beforehand to kind of confirm an appointment, yeah, don't do that. That'll kill you every time. People will try to get out of it, and then you're in a sticky situation. You may not know how to handle that. And then again, you might be a seasoned pro and you might not know how to handle those things. But my main focus, my main objective in my company, Proto Leads, is to get you in front of as many people as possible so you can have the opportunity to help as many families as you can. Because let's face it, everyone that we're talking to, we're doing this to help families. And I do it too. I mean, obviously, it's a business. I'm in it to make money, full transparency. But, at the end of the day, it's a good industry. We are helping families. The insurance industry is helping families prepare for the inevitable. So, really that's all I have today. But I just wanted to get this little video out. I know it's probably a little longer than I wanted it to be, but just to kind of, touch on, the difference between the leads and the appointments and kind of how to handle them. And it's really more for individuals that are a little bit newer to the industry, but I think it might be a good refresher for a lot of people too. So listen, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you hearing me out and sticking through. And man, I appreciate your business. All of the agents out there, I've got tons and tons of agents out there. I just want to thank everybody for your continued support, your continued trust in me, and providing you with the best quality leads that I think are out there. And man, listen, all the best. Take care, guys.